guys? It's Devilor here, and Terraria, but not just any Terraria, Terraria Calamity. So, for those of you who don't know, Terraria has a pretty good modding community, and this is one of the biggest mods out there. And it adds a ton of new enemies, bosses, armors, and of course, weapons, as well as ores, which you'll see all of these over here. So generally, the Calamity mod does a good job at explaining like when you should sort of do things and sort of guiding you. Um, so like this, I'm trying to find a good example. Here we go. Brimstone Elemental. This is a Calamity specific boss, and you need to use a certain item in a certain biome. And if we look up the recipe for it, we'll see that it requires hallowed bars. So this is obviously post-mechanical bosses, which is when I took it down. But one of the things that it really doesn't explain well are the ores. You'll see all these ores. These are in this whatever. This ore is the weakest. This ore is the strongest. So, yeah. The only ore that it really explain, there are actually a couple ways to tell whether you can mine an ore or not. First of all, you can look up the recipes for it and check their quality next to other similar items. So if we look up the first ore in the bunch, Aerialite, I don't remember how to spell it, and we see this set, we can tell that it's pretty good. 7 defense, 9 defense. Okay, this is pretty good. So then if, let's look up the Molten Armor set. 8, 9. Okay, so it's comparable. So that tells me that Aerialite is a fairly endgame, well, it's close to the Wall of Flesh, basically. And then there's one other good way to tell whether you can mine an ore or not, which is these slimes here. These here. So these slimes are exclusive to the Calamity mod, as you can see when I roll over their names. There's the Arrow Slime, and when you kill him, he drops, oh look at that, Aerialite. And then that it's that way for everyone. Bloom Slime drops Eula Bloom, Chaos Slime drops Chaotic Ore, Charred Slime drops Charred Ore, Cryo Slime, Cryo Ore, wait, what's it? Okay, Cryonic Ore. I was close. And Perennial Slime drops Perennial Ore. And so yeah, once you can defeat those guys, generally you can mine out whatever ore it is. So yeah, I have a bunch of pickaxes here, as you can see, and we're just gonna go through. This is the weakest, again, and this is the strongest. So, if it can't break Aerialite, then it can't break anything else. So, copper pickaxe, big surprise, you can't break anything with this. What about the gold pickaxe? Still nothing. Nightmare pickaxe? Oh, now we're getting somewhere. So, in order to mine Aerialite, you need to have a Crimson or Corruption pickaxe or better. The Corruption pickaxe has, I believe it's, yeah, 65% pickaxe power. Basically, anything that can mine pre-hard mode ores can mine this. As you can see, can mine Hellstone, so this is about as tough as Hellstone. What about the Cryo Ore? The Cryonic Ore? No, it can't. Because Cryonic Ore is a hard mode ore. So there's only one Calamity pre-hard mode ore that you can mine. There are plenty of bars, but we'll get to that later. molten pickaxe, can't mine the cryonic ore. Which is weird, because I always thought that fire melted ice, but whatever. What about cobalt? No. Orculum. Or, or, there are a bunch of ways to say it. I've always said it orculum, but whatever. Titanium. Alright, so you need titanium or adamantite in order to mine the cryonic ore, which is 190 pickaxe power. What about the... Nope, can't mine the perennial. Or the chart, okay. So, next up, pickaxe axe. Yep, can mine the perennial ore. So, you need to beat all the hallowed bosses in order to get the perennial ore. So, perennial ore is on about the same level as chlorophyte, for those of you who know the base game. Oh, and look at that, so is charred ore. So let's just go ahead and mine all this out. And move on to the next one. Chaotic ore? No. Now, there is one exception to the rule. Astral ore. Astral ore is pretty tough. You can mine it with a pickaxe axe or greater. However, there is a catch to it. In order to mine the astral ore, you need to basically get permission by beating this boss, Astrum Deus, which I plan on making a small like boss guide after this video. So I'll put a link to that and it'll show you what he's all about. So yeah, astral ore is a special case. Next up, chaotic ore. Yep, Pixaw is your guy. Pretty self-explanatory. And then the Eulabloom ore. This is the only post-Moonlord ore. And you need a gallant pickaxe or better in order to mine it out, basically. And this thing mines fast. So yeah, those are all the different ores. So let's give an example. Aerialite, you need Nightmare Pickaxe or better. Eulabloom, you need, I hate that. You need the Gallant Pickaxe or better. Chaotic Ore, Pixaw or better. Charred Ore and Perennial Ore, you need the Pickaxe Axe or better. Cryonic Ore, you need the Titanium Pickaxe or better. And Astral Ore, you also need the Pixaw or better. And you need to have defeated Astrum Deus. So, yeah. That's when you can mine the ores. I'm just going to go ahead and trash these. So, yeah. And then each ore you can make into a bunch of different bars. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick jump cut to get everything set up for this next bit. So yeah. Alright, I'm back. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are quite a few different bars, but not as many ores. You can see this bar is Calamity. All these bars are Calamity exclusive, but this one was not an ore. This one was not an ore. This one was not an ore. This one's not an ore. This one is not an ore, and neither is this one. So, real quick, I'm just gonna go through these, explain sort of how to make them and what you can do with them. Victide bars, these are probably the first things that you're gonna get. You'll need a victory shard, which you can get from defeating early bosses, or the snid, or one of the mini bosses in the desert, as well as using a coral, a starfish, and a seashell. All of which you can get from a mini boss in the desert, which, if you'll give me a minute, I'm pushing the wrong buttons. If you will give me a minute, I can pull up real quick and just sort of show you what they look like. Uh, I Yep. So this is the mini boss, and as you can see, when you beat him, he drops everything you need to make the Victide bars. And you can find him in the underground jungle. Or not underground jungle, underground desert. Area light. You're gonna need a lot of area light. They make a lot of really good accessories. They make these, which lead to the best wings in the game. They make this, which you need to make that. They make the only set of pre-hard mode wings. They make some really good armor, as well as some crazy pre-hard mode weapons. The Storm Surge in particular is one of my favorites. But yeah, now we're up into the hard mode. Cryo Ore, you get this from beating the... Oh right, Area Light you can just find anywhere underground. Cryo Bars you get from beating the Cryogen boss. And it's basically an easier way to make frost armor, as well as making a couple weapons that are pretty good. Like this, you need this to make some of the best weapons in the game. Same with this, but it's basically just an easier way to get the frost armor, as well as a couple Calamity mod things, which I might go into a bit later. Draydon bars. As you can see, you can do quite a lot with these. I like this armor in particular because it has some pretty good buffs. But the main thing that you're gonna want it for is these, which we'll get to in a bit. But you need 15 perennial ore and 1 essence of cinder, the essence of sky and storm creatures. So you can find essence of cinders by killing enemies in the sky biome or in the desert, I think it is. But 15 ore and 1 essence will get you 5 Draydon bars. Next up, bars. Versatilite. I don't know. But anyway, cryonic ore. Wait. Yeah, perennial ore can just be found anywhere underground. Cryonic ore can be found basically anywhere in the snow biome, or underground ice biome, or whatever you want to call it. And it is used to make, or you need 16 ore to make 4 bars. I don't know why it's split up like that, it just is. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. The astral bars, you can make some pretty decent armor. This armor gives you some buffs to awareness, basically. Like, as you can see, creature detection, danger detection, treasure and ore detection. So it's pretty nice, but by the time I got to this stuff, I was already way beyond that. The best thing that you can do with the astral bars is you can make this, which increases your max mana by 100, and this, which is one of the 4 items that you can use to up your life, afterlife fruit. These things, you can use them to upgrade stuff, I think. This one leads into this pretty cool sword, and I don't think, yeah, that one doesn't lead into anything. But astral bars, they're handy, but you'll really only want them for these 2 things. At least, that's what I really only wanted them for, me personally. Cryptix bars. In order to make one of these... Oh, crap. I'm sorry. In order to make astral bars, you need 12 Stardust and Astral Ore. Stardust you can get from killing any enemies that spawn in the Astral biome. It's basically like a more advanced Meteor biome, so yeah. And 8 Ore and 12 Stardust will give you 4 bars. So start stockpiling, because you need a total of 30 to get both of these. Cryptix bars. You need 12 chaotic ore and a core of chaos in order to get these. Cores of chaos. These are made using one essence of chaos and one ectoplasm, and you get 3 of them. No, wait. Three of them. An essence of chaos, the essence of underworld creatures. So basically, just kill things in the underworld. Personally, I found that they spawned more often in the Calamity biome, which is at either end of your world in Hell. So you can see this bit over here looks incredibly different from everything else. This is the Calamity biome. This is where you'll find Chart Ore, and Chaotic Ore is just sort of spread out throughout Hell. So yeah. And you can use these to make some pretty good upgrades. But again, you'll want to save them up, because what you really want to use these for is bars of life. So in order to make one of these, you need 1 Versatilite, 1 Draydon, and 1 Cryptix bar. And oh boy, do you need them for a lot of really good things. First of all, you need them for the Seraph Tracers, which are the 3rd best wings in the game, I think. 2nd best, arguably. Next, you also need a lot of them. You need a total of 90 of them for the Auric Tesla armor, which is the 2nd best set of armor in the game, second only to the Demon Shade, which offers better boosts to things. However, this gives you a wider variety of boosts. Portable Bulb. Basically an easy way to summon Plantera, 3 bars of life, and a living shard. Basically, once you've already beaten Plantera, you can just make these, and you don't have to scour the jungle for hours to find one Plantera bulb. Shadowspec bars. These are the best bars in the game, and I just realized that I forgot to grab any, but we'll get to that in a bit. They take a lot of things. You can only make these once you have beaten every single boss post-Moonlord. You need Phantoplasm, which you get from the dungeon post-Providence, I think. Nightmare Fuel and Endothermic Energy, which you get post-Providence also, I think. Or maybe it's post-Devourer of Gods, I don't know. Calamitous Essence drops from Supreme Calamitous. Darks and Fragments drop from Mothron after Yaren is defeated. And Yaren Soul Fragments drop from Yaren himself. Elemental Disc. One of the better throwing weapons in the game. You need some stuff, but I think it's worth it. Arc of the Elements. One of the best swords in the game, leads into the Arc of the Cosmos, which is, again, one of the best swords in the game. Just bars of life are used for a ton of different really good, really powerful upgrades. So you'll want to stockpile as many as you can when you can. So I'll just sort of go through each recipe, showing you what it does. And if you need more time to look at it, you can pause. The Shredder, personally, is probably my favorite weapon that uses bars of life. I'll probably just pull it up after all this. But just know that it's fun. Not particularly useful, but it's fun. Next, after bars of life, which are, again, probably the most useful thing, so you'll want to stockpile those. Unholy Cores. Charred Ore, and Hellstone. You can make some pretty decent stuff from this, but the most important thing that you'll want to make is this Terracotta Blade, because it goes into the Exo Blade, which is the... Hang on. Okay, it is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, just as far as raw damage. Everything else is Okay. Next up, bloodstone cores. Oh, real quick, you can find I know I'm sort of bouncing around a bit, but this is going off of my own mind and what I know of the game, and also this. Uh, the charred ore you can find anywhere in the Calamity biome, which is at either end of hell, like the very, very end. Bloodstone cores, you need Bloodstone 5 and Phantoplasm 1. You can get Bloodstone from either defeating the where is he? Where is he? I can't find. There he is. By defeating the Ravager boss. Um, after I think it's Providence, and he'll start dropping Bloodstone. Or you can just kill enemies in hell to get Bloodstone. But these make some really good upgrades. The main thing that you'll want these for is the Auric Tesla armor, like I said. However, the buffs, what you get from these is actually really good. It focuses a lot on lifesteal and healing. So if you're having trouble with a boss, grab these and maybe a couple of weapons from here, and you'll get some lifesteal throughout the entire fight. I sort of messed up the order, but whatever. Meldiate bars. You make these by using ectoplasm, hallowed bars, and meld blobs. You can get meld blobs from the lunatic cultist enemy, and they drop randomly from any mobs that spawn near the towers. This is the first set of post Moonlord armor, since you need the ancient manipulator to make these. And you can make some pretty good stuff. However, again, most of these, the big things that you'll want to make are 1 and 2. And maybe 3. What does... Oh. Never mind. If you... yeah. So, maybe 3. Depends on what you're doing. Next up, Uliase. Like I said, you need to make the Meldiate... You need to make this pickaxe, which comes from Meldiate bars, in order to mine the Eulabloom, which makes the Uliase bars. This is the best ore that you can mine in the game. You need 12 Eulabloom, and 1 Unholy Essence. Eulabloom can just be found anywhere in the underground jungle, post Moonlord, I think. And Unholy Essence, you can collect it from certain enemies that spawn post Moonlord in the Hallowed biome, or in Hell. You also need Uliase to make the elderberries, which is another thing that can increase your health. But again, the main things that you'll want to make are the armor, because this also goes into the Auric Tesla armor. So there's that. And then you'll also, it depends on what you're doing, but I really suggest that you make the Spiker, because this is a really good weapon just in general, and it's very hard to miss with. I'll probably end up showing it off in the next video, where I plan on doing boss guides. Well, guides with air quotes. But anyway, something that I want to mention, any post-Moonlord armors are all-purpose. So if you look here, hang on. Okay, yeah. 10% increased damage and crit chance. It's not saying range damage and range crit. It's just saying damage and crit. So anything post-Moonlord will buff all of your stats. It's all-purpose armor. Next up, Cosmolite. This is probably the most important ore or bars in the entire game. You can make so many good accessories. In fact, if you look at the accessories and things listed up here, most of them are currently on me. But anyway, the Exoblade, the Executioner's Blade, Galaxia, the Minigun, the Submissing Vortex, the Vivid Clarity. All of these things are incredibly powerful weapons and armor that require Cosmolite. You're going to need a lot of this stuff. In fact, I would recommend... Crap. I would recommend saving up for this weapon here, because it makes it really easy to farm out the Devourer of Gods, which is where you get Cosmolite from. But that's a story for a different time. You need it to make the Burb pheromones, which you need to kill in order to summon Yaren, which gives you some of the best weapons and armor in the game. You need 20 in order to make the Dragon Fruit, the last item that can increase your health, or increase your natural health. So, yeah. You need it for the Eye of Extinction, which summons Supreme Calamitous, the last boss in the game, which gives you, or which allows you to make Shadowspec bars, which give you the best weapons and armors in the game. So yeah, Cosmolite, pretty darn important. You're going to want to farm out the Devourer of Gods for quite a while to get enough Cosmolite. And I apparently don't have any in this world, but if we go here, where are they? Here we go. Shadowspec bars. This is the best the best bar in the entire game. Gives you the Demon Shade armor, which is the best in the entire game. 50% increased damage and crit chance, and 20 max minions. Yeah. I'm not gonna say out everything, but you can pause the video and look at the stats. Crystal Crusher, 5,000% pickaxe power, plus 50 range. Yeah. Animus, really powerful sword. It's just a sword, but it's still really powerful. This is basically an upgraded, not basically, it is an upgraded Terrarian. This weapon is just crazy. Contagion is incredibly useful. Draconic Destruction, probably my favorite sword in the entire game. Earth, ridiculously useful. Heals, has a chance to drop enemy defense by 50. Your attacks heal you a lot. Fab Staff I actually haven't made yet. Dance of Light, really powerful. Red Sun, absolutely crazy. This thing, probably the best way to farm out the Devourer of Gods. And I don't even think I need to say anything about that damage. So yeah, you're gonna need to do a lot of farming to get these, but it is absolutely worth it. 3 Bars of Life, 3 Phantoplasm, 3 Nightmare Fuel, 3 Endothermic Energy, 1 Calamitous Essence, 1 Yaren Soul Fragment, and 1 Dark Sun Fragment makes 3 Shadowspec bars. These are absolutely worth farming out. I already told you where to get Bars of Life and Phantoplasm. Nightmare Fuel you get from killing bosses in post-Devourer of Gods, Pumpkin Moon, and Endothermic Energy is the same but for the Frost Moon, which is the Halloween and Christmas events, respectively. Calamitous Essence drops from Supreme Calamitous. Yaren Soul Fragments drop from Yaren, and Dark Sun Fragments drop from Mothron in the post-Yaren solar eclipse. So, I want to go ahead and demonstrate the power of these, basically. So, as you can see, I have a couple of them in my inventory. So, let's just see what this does. No buffs or anything, And look at that damage per second. I think I saw 160,000 damage per second. And look at this. Basically, wherever you're pointing, it'll shoot. It's very powerful. Earth. Can't really show it off with these guys, but it is very good. Draconic Destruction, probably my favorite weapon in the entire game. Watch this. This is awesome. Ready? Look at that. This completely decimates any enemy. Bosses, mobs, whatever. And this has the most raw damage in the entire game. Once these disappear, watch this. That is insane. So yeah, Shadowspec bars. Get as many as you can. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's it. So those are all the different bars and what they make and how to make them and everything. I'm pretty sure I went over everything, but if not, let me know in the comments below. But if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go make a small boss guide video, which I will link to in the description. And yeah. So yeah. A lot of those bars that you get can be gathered from bosses. I'm only going to go over the Calamity exclusive bosses. So, yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all later.